read anything dealing with our universe, of course in our university that you are in our department. So once again, this is great opportunity to be Miss Prof. Waring from Notre Dame Seisin University of Japan. Prof. Waring, thank you very much. I do appreciate for that, and Mr. Hari, Mas Hari, who have managed this program. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, would you like me to start?
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Pak Titis, for giving the opening remarks. Now for the next agenda and the main activity for today. However, before we start, let me give you students, let me read a little bit about what is that the curriculum vitae from Professor Waring. That Professor Waring right now have been working as a professor at Notre Dame Seisin University since 1993. Is that right, Professor? Yeah.
Since 1993, that's right.
Oh, 1993.
So years.
Yes. And he got the Doctor of Philosophy in Applied Linguistics from University of Wales, Swansea. And he is also the founder of Extensive Reading Foundation. And so that's why actually Professor Rob Waring is very expert in the expense reading. So hopefully we are going to have a lot of insight and also knowledge from Professor Waring regarding to the extensive reading. So without waiting any further, so it's time I'll give it to Professor Waring. Now, Professor Waring, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. So we have a lot of students today. I don't know how you understand me, so I will try to speak with some of you soon and find out about your reading and what you like. I've been teaching English now for about 40 years. Most of my teaching has been in Japan. I've also taught in China and Australia and England and France. And I have been to Indonesia many times. I've been to your town actually a few years ago. And come back next year. So next year we have a very exciting conference about reading that's going to happen in Georgia. And I will be there, and hundreds of teachers will be there to talk about reading. And that's the Indonesian Extensive Reading Association. So I want to talk to you today about reading and about the importance of reading. I think for us that reading is important. The problem, of course, is not everybody does a lot of reading. So before we begin, I want you to talk to each other. Let me just put the questions for my slide. And
hello, Professor.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, but your voice is up and down, sir.
Okay, so
hello.
Maybe that's better.
I think you have a little bit problem with the connection.
I think part of the problem is everybody switching off. Would be easier.
Hello, I cannot hear your voice, sir.
Could you to switch off their video everybody? Hello?
Okay, now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yes, it's clear.
so fine. So everybody switch, please, everybody switch off video. Everybody switch off Bahasa Indonesia.
I'm sorry, sir. Your voice is still cut.
Okay.
I think it's problem with the bandwidth of your connection, maybe. Okay, everyone, please switch off video and audio.
Yeah.
Hello, Professor.
Yes, yes, I'm here. Some students are here. Announcement, please, in Bahasa Indonesia.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, fine. So students, please switch your video. Please switch off video. Please switch off video.
Oke, adik-adik semuanya, silakan dimatikan dulu untuk kameranya ya sementara waktu ya, agar lebih mempermudah. Yes, I think we have already turned off all the video, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so can you hear me now? Okay. So, please read these questions.
I'm so sorry,
My
Professor.
screen.
Still, your voice is having a problem. Maybe the bandwidth or... Adik-adik semuanya bisa mendengar suara Mr. Hari nggak?
Bisa, Mister.
Kalau suaranya Profesor gimana?
Iya, terputus terus.
Oh iya. Yes, sir. We can see your screen, and I have already checked to my students that we have the same problem. We have the same problem to listening to your voice. Your voice is a little bit having a broken or something. So everyone, please check the chat room. Semuanya silahkan dilihat untuk di chat roomnya ya. Di situ ada instruksi dari Profesor Waring untuk activity selanjutnya di sini selama 10 menit ke depan. Profesor, how many minutes we should spend to have this discussion? I mean, this small discussion actually. 5 or 10 minutes enough? Okay. So I'm going to break the students into some rooms right now. Is that okay? So 80. So let me make it into okay. So let me make it into 20 groups. Adik-adik, apakah semuanya sudah bisa melihat instruksi dari Profesor Waring di apa namanya? Di chat room? Halo. Oke, jadi setelah ini saya pecah semuanya ya untuk masuk ke apa namanya? Di masing-masing ruangan. Silahkan adik-adik semuanya berdiskusi selama 10 menit dengan anggota kelompok di room masing-masing. Itu saling bertanya tentang apa dengan pertanyaan yang sudah disediakan di situ. Oke ya. Nanti Mr. Riset sampai 10 menit nanti otomatis akan kembali ke room utama. Bisa dipahami? Can you understand? Halo.
Yes.
Bisa dipahami, Pak, adik-adik?
Yes.
Ya. Oke, Profesor.
Yes.
I'm breaking the students right now. Yeah, I'm opening all the rooms now. So go. Oke, adik-adik silakan join ke silakan diklik join ya semuanya ya untuk masuk ke room masing-masing. Semuanya sudah Mr. setting untuk bisa masuk ke ruangan masing-masing di situ. Ya, yang lain masih ada beberapa yang belum join. Ya, oke, sebagian sudah mulai join.
Okay. I'm going to join a group and see if they can hear me.
Okay. Can you join? I mean, as a co-host, can you join, sir?
Yes,
Okay.
I can join. I'm going to join room 1 and then try to listen and talk
your
to
voice
them.
is clear now. It's
Yes.
very different from before.
Yes, maybe because of the bandwidth is different. I don't know. Anyway, I will join.
Okay.
Let me see if I can talk to them.
Tinggal. Panas banget.
Halo, adik-adik yang masih belum join, silakan segera join ya.
Hello, students. I think you have a chat room, a breakout room you can go to. Can you see a join button? Everybody coming back now, I think.
Yes, the breakout room will close in 20 seconds.
Okay, that's great. I'm not sure everybody understood what to do. Maybe next time we hold the breakout room, we need to check everybody understands before they join the room.
Yes, I think for the next meeting, we are going to prepare it more about it, sir.
Yes, I think so. I don't know. You can hear me fine now, yes?
Yes, I can hear your voice very clear now.
Okay, that's great. So
Wait a minute.
I think what we'll do is the breakout rooms are now closed. I will start a kind of mini lecture for about 30 minutes or so, talking
Wait
about
a minute.
how people learn languages. Is that okay?
Yes, no problem. Please.
Okay, fine. So sometimes, Professor Harry, I will ask you to just maybe say a few words to summarize in Bahasa Indonesia, about maybe every 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, just a few seconds to explain so I know everybody understands. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Great. Okay. So, students, I'm now going to share my screen with you again. And I am going to record this video, this session, so that if you cannot hear now, then you will be able to watch and listen to this later. Okay, I will send a link to Professor Harry for you so that you can watch later. So please now listen. And a pencil. Please find a piece of paper and a pencil.
Ayo adik-adik semuanya, sekarang silahkan untuk menyiapkan pensil dan kertas ya. Bisa dipahami? Halo.
Halo. Yes.
Ini saya perlu ngomong bahasa Indonesia nggak atau semuanya udah bisa paham semuanya ya?
Okay.
I think all of them already understand, sir.
Great. Okay, good. So I'm going to talk now for about 30 minutes on this question about understanding your brain when learning English. I want you to understand how your brain works and how people learn languages. And I want you to understand about why teachers ask you to do things. Sometimes students will follow the teacher, but don't really understand why. Why are we doing this? So today I want you to understand that so you can understand about how important reading is. So this mini lecture is called Understanding Your Brain When Learning English. So let's start with a very easy question. Well, maybe not so easy. Please think about this. What's the difference between studying and learning? What's the difference between studying and learning? So we can say, I study English and I learn English. We can say, I study math, or I study history and I learn history. Can we say, I learn the piano? Yes. Can we say, I study the piano? Maybe no. I study ballet? Learn history? Yes. Study history? Yes. Study driving? Maybe no. So what is this difference between studying and learning? If you think you know, could you type into the chat window? Type in the chat window if you know the difference between studying and learning.
Adik, silahkan dicek untuk chat room-nya ya.
I don't mind if you type in Bahasa Indonesia, that's fine. I just want you to think. But English is better.
Anyone, please give us the idea of the difference between studying and learning. I hope everyone can, what is that? Write your opinion, your idea.
Well, if you're thinking about it, fine. So the first thing I want you to ask is, where do you study? Where does studying happen? Where does learning happen? This will help you to see the difference. So let's move to the next slide. So the large circle here is where we would say, I learn to drive. Theory is about something and learning is about something. Okay. It's a skill about something. Okay, good idea. Learn how to do something. Still the same, but it's more academic and formal. Good idea. Good idea. Okay. Study is theory, learning is more practice. Okay, very good. If study is only to learn lessons, while learning is to learn or learn things and lesson skills and more. Okay, there's some good ideas here. Well, let me tell you my ideas. So here we say we can learn to drive, we can learn dance or ballet, we can learn to play tennis, learn to play soccer, learn to play chess, learn to read, learn to speak, learn to write. So they're usually fun and they're enjoyable, yes? We have a hand up, okay. However, studying is a kind of learning. So we would study English, study math, study history, study science, but notice that learning is bigger. Learning is the bigger area, right? So learning is the bigger area here, and the study is a form of learning. It's a kind of learning. So we can say I can learn to drive, but I can say I learn English, learn math, learn history, learn science. That's fine. We can learn everything, but we only study something. So what's the difference? Studying is usually connected to school. So there are often tests and there's hard work to do, and you have to study some kind of topic, yeah? So studying is a kind of learning. It's a kind of learning. But of course, sometimes the learning is not fun. The studying is not fun. So when we think about study, we're thinking about school and tests and so on, yeah? Now, if I ask students, do you like studying? Many students say, no, I don't like studying because it's connected to school. But everybody likes to learn something. You like to learn, but you like to learn about things which are fun and enjoyable. So you might learn to play ballet or play tennis or learn something, and you would develop your skill. But studying has an image of at a desk, there's a test coming, textbook, classes, and so on. So it's important to understand this difference between studying and learning, because we have many different ways that we would learn. So, for example, we could have where someone teaches you something. So you have a teacher teaching you something like this. Or maybe you're doing exercises from a book. Maybe you are practicing something. So in these ones, someone teaches you. Maybe the teacher or maybe the book is teaching you. But we also have the skill of speaking, reading, writing, and listening, where we are doing things on our own for fun. And we can see this also in daily life. If you want to learn to drive a car, then where do you learn to drive the car? Well, you go to school. You go to driving school. And this is the same as learning English or learning history. You go to school. Someone teaches you. There's a classroom. So in this way, you learn to drive. You learn to drive. Someone's teaching you the rules. You have a rule book that says the driving rule is this, do this, don't do that. And you have a person sitting next to you, and they teach you and test you about driving. So we also have a difference when you pass your license, when you have your driving license, you then can drive freely on the road. And there's a big difference between learning to drive and enjoying driving. When you are enjoying driving, you are thinking about, which direction do I go? Do I turn left? Do I turn right? You may be listening to the radio. You're having fun talking to your friends. You're just enjoying the driving and you can relax. But in driving school, you feel pressure. You feel a test. Everything is new and you don't know how to move your hands. You're not sure about your feet and so on. So English learning is quite similar. And we have the same for learning the piano. So when you learn the piano, someone teaches you the piano. You have a teacher and you have something to follow. And the teacher will explain to you. Later, maybe you will practice the skill. You maybe listen to a famous concert, or maybe you play on stage. So we have a difference between the study time and the fun skill side. Let me now ask you the next question. So imagine imagine next month, 4 weeks from now, you have a test. Which is the better way to study? Is it better to study a little bit each day, or is it best to study a lot, then do nothing, study a lot, do nothing, study a lot before the test? Which is the best way to learn, A or B? Please type your answer, A or B. Everybody, A or B, type your answer in the chat window. Okay, everybody's answering A. Good. All right, next question. Which do you do? Do you do A or B? Are you a student who does A, you study a little every day? Or are you a person who studies like B? And I think many students will study like B. I do B, yes. Yeah. So the thing is, I know you know. Everybody knows that studying a little every day is better. And later, I will explain why it's better. Everybody knows it's better to study a little every day, but we don't do it. So why? What's the problem? All right, so that's one thing. The next question for you, quiz. So the first question, how many words do I need to read or listen to become advanced level English? How many words do you need to meet? Have a guess. 800,000 words, 1 million words, 2 million words, or 5 million words? How many words do you need to meet? How much language do you need to meet before you become advanced level? Please type your answer, A, B, C, or D. Have a guess. AJ says D. Next person. How many words do you need to read to become advanced level? Some people say A, we've got C, B. Please, can you turn off your mic and turn off your camera, everybody?
Yes, I'm helping you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm also helping you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. The answer is D. So if you want to get to the advanced level of English, you need to meet about 5 million words of English. Now, I can explain why this is 5 million. I won't do this today. This is a very academic talk, so I don't want to talk, but please trust me that you need about 5 million words. So the next question, how many total words will I meet by the end of high school if I read only textbooks, your course books and your textbooks? Again, next question, A, B, C, or D? A, B, C, or D? Please type your answer. So this is the total words, all the words together in all of your textbooks. That's maybe 6 years or 7 years of 8 years of textbooks. How many words are there? Okay, right. Let's look at the answer. 100,000. So can you see a difference between 5 million that you need and only 100,000 in the textbooks? Is a big, big, big difference. So, of course, students don't only read textbooks. Many of you watch YouTube videos, or you listen to songs, or maybe you read books, you read the newspaper, you use the internet in English, and so you will get more English. But what's important here? The most important thing to understand from this is that if you only do schoolwork, it's not going to be enough. You need to do more. You need to do a lot of extra reading or listening at school, and maybe you need to be reading and studying outside as well in your private life. So it's very important that you, as an English student, study, or should I say, learn English every day. And I do not mean more and more and more and more textbooks. You need more than textbooks. So Professor Harry, could you please give a short summary of the difference between studying and learning, and about the amount of English students need?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes. Basically, everyone, we need to do more learning rather than studying if you want to improve your quality of advanced level in English. So that's why everyone, not only just reading the textbook, because as we know, if you want to become an advanced level of English, everyone should have at least 5 million words that needs to be understand, need to be read. And if you just only read the textbooks, of course, the number of the total words that you get is only 100,000. So basically, we need to do more and more what we call extensive reading, maybe reading from every sources that we have, maybe from internet, from the novel, books, or everything that you have, something like that, sir.
That's great. That's a lovely summary. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. So now I'm going to talk about how students usually study English. If you look at a typical classroom, a normal classroom in Asia, maybe in Thailand or Vietnam or China or Korea or Spain even, or Indonesia, how do students usually study English? How does this happen? Well, there's two important things that you need to look at. Let me explain to you. So I'm going to show you something here. Let me move to the next screen. Come on, next screen. Okay. So let me explain. Don't worry about this too much. We're going to look at it carefully. So some of the things that you do is language study. That's these things here. All of these things are things that you do to study English. These things that you do at the bottom are things that you do to practice English. Some of these things are what we call input. This language comes to you from listening and from reading. Some of these things that are productive, you use for writing or speaking. So we have input and we have output. Receptive learning from listening and reading, and productive from writing or speaking. But the important thing to understand, there's a difference between the things that you study and the things that you practice. Let's look at some examples of these things. So, in the study row, we often use things like a textbook where you're learning something. Maybe you're learning a new word Maybe you're learning some grammar. Maybe you're learning a new skill. So this is where you're learning something new. And this can come from your textbook. It can come from your teacher. It can come from your dictionary. It can come from word lists, and so on and so on. On this side, we have things that you do to check you understand. This might include taking a test, or maybe filling in a blank in a question like this, or repeating something after the teacher. So these things here are checking that you understand. Here we do the learning. We learn something new and then we take a test to check we understand. So we have things which we learn and things that we check our understanding. In the bottom down here, these things are focused on communication. The main aim is the message. What do I want to understand? What do I want to read? What do I want to talk about? Yeah. So the ones at the bottom here are about focus on communication. It's not about understanding new things. This here is learning new things and checking we understand. So the teacher maybe say, let's read this book. Now we check understanding with checking your vocabulary, checking your comprehension, and so on. Down here, maybe you read a story, but there's no test. Or you maybe listen to a story, or maybe you watch a video. There's no test here. And the same also when speaking with your friends. Here, this is speaking and writing, it's output. Here you're writing a diary, or you're writing an email, you're writing an essay, you're writing your ideas. This type of writing is very different. This is a test. It's checking you understand. This is not your words. This is words you have to write because of a test. So let's look at these in detail. So the top part here is about building language knowledge and getting control over it. Learn something, test my understanding, and developing strategies. The bottom is about developing a sense of how the language works. How does the grammar and vocabulary fit together? Building autonomy. Autonomy means independence. Being able to learn at my speed, in my way, the things I want to learn at my pace, things I want to read and listen to, things I want to talk about. That's autonomy, independence, and also building cultural knowledge as well. So the top part here of this is about studying. The bottom part is about practicing. So this would be, for example, where you learn to read. The top row is about using textbooks and worksheets and tests. Everybody works as a class. Everybody uses the same book. Maybe you're learning the alphabet, you're building your vocabulary, you're focusing on new words and grammar, and so on. That's what happens at the top here. At the bottom, you're using books like graded readers. You choose your own books. You can go for speed reading, focus on comprehension, and build your natural reading practice. This here is what we call study reading. Study reading. And we do this with textbooks and worksheets, and there's tests. The bottom here is reading that you do to learn with reading naturally. natural reading, to read smoothly and quickly and easily and enjoyably. That's the difference between this type of study reading and extensive reading and listening. Professor Harry, could you please explain once about this difference between the study row and the practice row, please? Professor Harry, are you there?
Okay, yeah, I'm still here, sir. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
students, I hope that everyone knows here about the difference between learning and what is that reading and listening to learn. Because as we know, when we are just doing the language study, I mean, there are so many study intensive that we can do, like using textbook, worksheet, tests, and doing some material. That's what we call learning to read. However, if you want to mix your reading as a practice, especially improve your, what is that, advance of your language ability, of course, reading and listening should be things that should be used to learn, like graded readers, choose your own books, fluency, speed, and everything. Basically, if you want to do the extensive reading, just choose the activity that really, what is that, fun for you. You can do everything from every kind of material that you have, actually.
Okay.
That's it.
Great. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of those boxes I showed you before. So many students, when they are studying English, notice studying English, they use a textbook. And the textbook looks like this. Your course book or textbook probably looks like this. It's not the same, but it has this design. What's this design? Well, you have something to read, maybe 200 words, maybe 300 words. It's quite short. You have some new words. These words here in yellow are the words, the new words the book is teaching you. So you have some difficult words, and maybe you need to stop and think, or stop and look in the dictionary, and so on. So these things here, this is the studying form of reading. Sometimes we have a definition. So most students learn to read using short, difficult passages like this. And the aim is a good aim to teach new words, maybe teach new grammar, and learn about, for example, our Earth. That's a good thing to do. After the reading, we often have some questions. Comprehension questions, or maybe some vocabulary questions, maybe some grammar questions, and so on. So there are many exercises. So this is a form of study reading. This is study reading. Notice there's not a lot of text. There's not a lot of words. Therefore, you cannot read a lot. Also, what's important is because there are some difficult words, sometimes your reading is stopped. Sometimes your eye stops and goes, huh? What's this word? Huh? I don't know this word. So you're not reading smoothly. You read and stop, read and stop, read and stop, or read again. So this type of reading is study reading. Now, I'm not saying this is bad. This type of reading is good, but you also need to read smoothly and quickly so that your brain works better. And I'll talk more about that later. So this type of reading is good, but it's only the beginning. This type of reading gives you new grammar, new vocabulary, but it won't make that knowledge deep, because you're only meeting the word maybe one time, maybe two times. That's not enough for learning. So another way students learn is by using books like this. This here is a grammar book. On the left page, it will teach you some new grammar. And on the right page, you have exercises. So this is very common way that students will learn. They'll learn with course books like this, and maybe with grammar books or vocabulary books like this. So let's look at this balanced curriculum again. In the language study area, the reason we do this is we have some teaching from the teacher. Maybe you use your dictionary, maybe you use your grammar book, you're doing your study reading, and so on, and word learning. Why do we do this? To build language awareness. We want you to build new knowledge. We want you to have some basic study skills. We want you to build the connection between words, what we call form and meaning connection. This means to understand the spelling or pronunciation and a meaning. So you meet the new word apple. We know how we sound, apple. We know apple means a red or green fruit. So to understand this connection between words. We also want you to discriminate between meaning senses, to learn the difference between word A and word B. For example, you may know the word bank has more than one meaning. We say a bank where you put money, or we say a bank of a river, or a bank of computers. They have different meanings, like to read our book or to book our hotel. So here we're learning the different meaning senses, and that's this one. And to build systemic derivational knowledge. What does this mean? This means understanding word parts. So for example, happy or unhappy, possible or impossible, or we would say many different word parts we would add at the beginning of words or the end of words, like able, able, for example, or information, for example, to inform, but information. So this is word knowledge. So we do this through maybe the teacher teaching you something, or maybe the students will study in their book, or maybe you will do this with a dictionary. Maybe you do this with word cards. Maybe you do this by learning new words from a word list. Maybe you do this by studying words from pictures, and so on. So this is the first box. Let's look at the second box. So here we're doing many different things. So the reason we do this is to check you understand the meaning of something. Do you understand the meaning? Do you know which word to use? And let's look at some other examples to check the form, meaning, pronunciation. So if I say, how do you spell apple? You can say A-P-P-L-E. I'm checking you know how to spell or how to pronounce. So check the meaning is correct, select the correct word, and using controlled activities. Let's show you some. So this is an example of a test. Here are the words, and you put the correct word into there. This is a kind of test activity.
Professor?
This is not a teaching activity. Yes?
I think you have a problem with the
Hello?
connection. We have the voice problem with yours.
Oh dear. Okay, so let me speak slowly. This here is a test. This one also is writing sentence again and again and again and again and again in the same way, so you can write better. Yeah. This is the teaching side, and this is the testing side. Here we learn something new. These are the rules. This is the test. This is the second box, checking you understand. And this is another example of a test, checking you can write correctly. These are all important things to do. Here's another example. These are all checking you understand something. And sometimes we have a dialogue. So here, student A and student B will talk together. This is a speaking activity, but it's not your words. This conversation is controlled by the book, by the teacher, by the exercise. This is not free speaking. This is controlled speaking. And this is to practice how to say something correctly. This is not your free conversation. This is controlled conversation. And it's a good thing to do sometimes in the first learning stage. Another way that people can check their understanding is using word learning apps like Quizlet or Word Learner or Word Engine. These check you understand. So let's look now at this bottom part. Remember, the top part is about language study. The bottom part is about practice. Yeah. So here, you're not focused on new things. No, this is practicing old things, things you already know. So we do easy reading, easy listening, watching movies, reading pages on the internet, and so on. So let's look at some examples. Let's look at some things that you do. We do this to get massive language practice, meaning we meet words again and again and again and again and again and again. You're reading 1 hour, 2 hours per week. We build fluency and lexical access speed. Lexical access speed means how quickly you can find the word in your head. Sometimes you're thinking of a word and you cannot remember, what's this word? What's this word? What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? I can't remember. And other words, you hear and you understand immediately. You hear the word apple. Ah, I know that word. So some words you understand slowly and other ones you understand quickly. So we do this so that you can read and listen quickly and smoothly, build your speed. We build a sense of how words and grammar go together. So we're going to feel, we start to feel what feels right and what feels wrong. I'll explain more later. We're trying to build background knowledge. You're learning about the topic. You're building your knowledge. You're deepening your knowledge. You're connecting words and grammar together. And you're learning to read and listen naturally. It's very different from language study. And you're building autonomy, independent So you choose what to read. You choose what to listen to. And we do this when we watch YouTube, maybe when we read books, for example. You choose to read Harry Potter, or you choose, I don't want to read Harry Potter. That's okay. We choose to read newspapers. We maybe listen to a book. We maybe read some graded readers, some storybooks, and so on, like this. So let's look at an example of extensive reading and of reading like this. Here is a very easy, very, very easy story, much too easy for you. So this story is called An Important Case. And here's the story. Please read it. Don't read aloud, just read in your head. Okay, everybody, you've read the story. Before we look at the last page, can you guess what's in the case? Please type your answer. What do you think is in the case? Type your answer. What do you think? Gold, money, papers? What's in the case? Have a guess. Type your answers, please. Money, okay. Thanks, Harry. Gold, documents, anything else? A gun. Okay, good idea. Any more ideas? Okay, so let's look. The answer is his lunch.
Oh.
His lunch. So this here is an example of extensive reading. Of course, it's easy to read. It's enjoyable. Did you need to get a dictionary? No. So this is an example of extensive reading where you're reading for communication. There's no new words, no new grammar. You're trying to build your reading speed. You're trying to read fluently. You're trying to enjoy the story. And there's a nice funny ending. So it's fun kind of thing to do. Now, of course, this book is too easy for you. But this is the idea of extensive reading. Let's look now at the last box down here. This is communication output for writing and speaking. And we do speaking activities, conversation, debate, email, chat, diaries, essays. Why? To read, to learn to write and speak naturally. This is your words. Remember, before, when you were speaking, it was a controlled conversation, A and B. No, in this one is you choose the topic, you choose which words to say. So the important thing is to get feedback on your success. So you say something and your friend says, huh? What do you say? Huh? What do you mean? So you can get feedback to find out if you are writing or speaking properly and to build your independent learning. So typical activities here would be talking to your friends, or maybe writing a journal or an essay or a diary or an email or something, writing postcards, writing your diary, maybe making a presentation. These are all examples of this type of language development. Yeah. So we have 4 boxes that we have talked about, 4 types of language study, 4 types of language study that we have talked about. Yeah. And each of these is very, very important. They all are needed if you want to be a good speaker and reader and writer of English. And this is a summary. So we have things for language study, things for language practice. We have things to learn new things. We have things to check our understanding, things where you read and listen smoothly, and things where you try out your language. All 4 are important. Professor Harry, would you like to just quickly review for us?
Yes, sir. Okay, students, as we know, can you see this one? The slide that Professor Waring already showed to us, that the balance of the curriculum, of course, we have some language study, fluency practice, and both of them have the receptive and productive activity. And this receptive and productive activity, all of them are very important with the different purpose and different, advantage for us. Like, for example, as we know, in the receptive of the balanced curriculum in language study, of course, we can build the language, we can have a basic study skill, and we have the, discriminate meaning and senses from receptive in the language studies. However, in fluency practice, of course, it's a little bit different with it. Like in easy reading, we can make this we can make it make a massive language practice for us, and we can we can build the fluency and lexical, and also we can build the sense of how words and grammar go together. So basically, those receptive, productive, both in language study and fluency practice have the difference, advantage, but all of them basically are very important for us in order to improve our English language ability. Of course, that's
right,
sir.
That's an excellent summary. Thank you, Professor Harry. Okay. So for students, I want you to remember this picture. I want you to understand what your teacher's doing and why you're doing it. So if you want to learn a language, we need to spend some time learning. We need to spend some time checking our understanding. Some time needs to build our reading speed, listening speed, and meeting lots and lots and lots of language. And we need to practice our speaking and our writing of our ideas. All 4 are important. My question to you: think about these 4 boxes. Where do you spend most of your time? When you're learning or studying English, Do you spend your time learning new things? Do you spend your time taking tests? Do you spend your time reading and listening to things you enjoy? Or do you spend your time doing this? So please think about the balance. Are you maybe doing too much new stuff and not enough practice? Maybe you're doing not enough tests and maybe not enough writing your own ideas and your own thoughts. When I talk to students in Asia, I think 90% of your time is here. Between 80 to 90% of your time is here. Many, many, many classes and many schools do not have this. Sometimes we have speaking activities, but most of it is, let's use my grammar book, let's use our reading book, let's use our textbook, let's do some tests. Most students spend most of their time here. That is not balanced. If you spend too much time in one box, it's not good. If you're taking tests all the time, no good, because you're not learning new things. If you're using your course book all the time, not good, because you also need to practice your reading. The same here. This is the driving school. This is driving on the road. To be a good driver, you need to leave the driving school. You need to drive on the road. If you want to be a good footballer or a good badminton player, you need to sometimes have the training. Importantly, you must play the game. You will not be a good football player if you only do practice by kicking the ball against a wall, for example. You need to play the game. And that's what this is. So let's look at this. There are two kinds of reading. Two kinds of reading. One is the study reading to learn new words and new grammar. The second one is the easy or fun reading. Now in Japanese, we call that tadoku. That's a new Japanese word for you. Tadoku in Japanese.
Tadoku.
Tadoku, yes, that's what we say, extensive reading. And we do that with this book. This type of book we do. And we would do the study reading, as I said before, with textbooks, worksheets, and so on. And then we have our reading practice. We looked at this slide before. So we have study reading and reading practice. So you have to find something that is not too difficult. If you do not understand, then you will read slowly. If you read slowly, you do not enjoy the reading. It's difficult, it's tiring, you need your dictionary, and you don't read much. So we have this bad cycle of reading. If the book is too difficult, if you're doing extensive reading, do not find something difficult. When the books are easy, you understand better. Therefore, you read faster. Therefore, you enjoy your reading more. And therefore, you read more. This is the good cycle of reading. The good cycle of reading is what we need. Yeah. And this is reading for fun. Like this, where maybe you just read at home, or maybe you read on the train, or maybe you even read at school. That's perfectly okay. Now notice the difference here. Can you see a pencil? No.
No.
What's the difference between study reading and this type of reading? You know you're study reading if you have a pencil in your hand. Okay? So we don't want to have that. So reading easy books gives you more practice with words and grammar and that you meet in your textbook. It helps you to meet more new words when reading easy books. It stops you forgetting things and helps you to learn words better. Helps you to see grammar patterns and helps you to read faster and helps you to read better. But you have to find a book that's easy. So, when choosing a book, you should ask yourself 4 questions. Can I read this without a dictionary? Yes? Good. That will be easy for you to read. Do I understand almost everything? Yes. Good. You can read smoothly and quickly. Can I read it quickly? Great. Is it fun? If you say yes, 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 that's a good book for you. If your answer is yes, no, no, yes, then maybe choose a different book. Okay. Did we have somebody speaking? Can we? Okay. So it's very important that you ask yourself the question, can I read this book without a dictionary? Do I understand almost everything? Can I read it quickly and is it fun? Yes, that's great for extensive reading. No, find something else. So, if you think about maybe junior high school or middle school, high school, university, and working life, if you only use your textbook, your English will grow to this level. If you're reading and using your textbook, your English will grow much, much, much better. Now, the next picture I'm going to show you, the next picture is the most important picture from today. The most important picture for studying. So, if you think about time and knowledge, so imagine today that you learn 20 new words or a new piece of grammar. So on day 1, today, you learn something new. What about tomorrow? How many of these 20 words will you remember tomorrow? Please type your answer. So you learned 20 words today. How many will you remember tomorrow? Will you remember 20? How many of these words will you remember next week? We know from science, this is what happens. We know that new knowledge, new words, new grammar will disappear over time. And we call this the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve is your worst enemy. What it says is, if you do not study again, you will forget. You will forget. So it's very important that you read and read and read and read again and again and again, so that you can meet language again and again and again. It's so important that you do that. So the first learning of something, that's from the textbook here. This is your textbook, the first learning. but the knowledge is going to be forgotten. So you need to meet the word and grammar again, but you're going to forget again. So you need to meet it again, but you're going to forget again, and so on and so on. So your textbook is the first meeting. Extensive reading, extensive listening will deepen that knowledge. So we do this, of course, with graded readers. Graded readers are books which are designed to help you to get better and better and better. We start with very easy books, going to more difficult books. In the end, we read native books like this. And there are many, many books for you to choose. So the textbook is about new language. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4 of your textbook, new language. Now, graded readers are books which deepen this knowledge. They strengthen this knowledge because they have only this grammar and only this vocabulary. Level 2 books have this grammar and vocabulary plus this grammar and vocabulary. So it's deepening and strengthening. Level 3 books have this grammar and vocabulary plus this grammar and vocabulary. So it's deepening and strengthening the books that what you're learning. Yeah. So we have the very easy level books like this. Very few words, lots of pictures. The next level, beginner level, we have sentences, we have speech, we have more words and smaller picture. The next level, smaller picture, more words, more difficult words, and so on. Intermediate level, more difficult words, more difficult grammar, and so on. And here at the advanced level, we have stories that are important, like stories without pictures. Could you make a quick summary, please, for us, Professor Harry?
Yes, sir. Well, ladies, students, of course, there are many things that we can do, of course, in order to improve our English language skill, especially in reading. As we know, it's not possible for us for creating the atmosphere of doing the extensive reading, because if we just read a lot of textbook from the classes or the classroom that given by the lecturer, it will not enough for us to improve our advanced ability of English. So that's why there are many types of books that we can read in order to improve our ability of English reading, of course. And this book itself, what we need to do is to make ourselves to build the connection, not only just understanding the stuff. As we know in the balanced curriculum in the previous slide, there are the difference between language study and fluency practice. And by doing the extensive reading, of course, we need to build the connection, not only just understand the context of the story. However, we just need to build the connection. And the things that we have to understand when we do the extensive reading process, if we have to enjoy the reading, we have to understand without any checking the dictionary. We have to be able to the most important thing is to enjoy the reading, because when we do enjoy, we can do it more and more and more. If we have some kind of difficulty, maybe in the quality or in the level of the words and the grammar or something like that, of course, we need to evaluate. Maybe this is not the level of the books that is matched with our our level of English. So that's why it's not good for doing the extensive reading here. So that's why we have to make sure that we choose the best or the suitable text that suit our level. And as we know, there are many levels of the books, like what Professor Waring mentioned before, from the beginning and from the what's the intermediate until the advanced level. So as long as we can do it, what is that, regularly, of course, we are going to be improve. We are going to improve our ability of our English, of course. And yes, there are a lot of stuff, like maybe from the books, maybe from the novel, that we can enjoy. As long as you enjoy it, of course, it's going to be good for us to improve our ability of English and reading, in reading especially. Okay, yeah, that's her.
Okay, thank you. So, students, I want you to pay attention. I have some homework for you. So, this class is going to do reading online. And we're going to do it using this website. I will first show you the website, and then you will log in. All of you have a username and a password. I will give you later. So first, let's look at the system. So first you need to go to the X Reading website and you need to log in. So this is me. I'm logging in. Oh, just a second. Here we go. So when you log in, when you go in, you can see the books that you've chosen, the number of books you have, the number of books tests that you passed, the number of words that you read, how much reading time you have been reading, and so on. So this gives you all of the data, your reading level, and so on. And here you can add a book. So let's just add a book to your library. So the library is loading here, and you can see there are many, many, many different books. So these here are the publishers, different publishers. These here are the levels. So you can choose low level or high level books, or you can choose books about action books or adventure or biography or fantasy, human interest. Yeah. Or you can choose different types. So there's many, many ways to choose books. So what you should do first is think about your level. You should try and find something. Maybe, I don't know your level, but let's start with level 7. So you should find something and then you can read some of it. So read now, start read. So when you start to read the book, here is the book. You should decide, is this easy for me or is this difficult for me? So therefore you go here, go next. It tells us who the characters are. This is about the book. And this now is the story. So when you're choosing books, you should choose something you can read. Remember the 4 questions. Something you can read without a dictionary. You can read it quickly. You understand almost everything and you enjoy. So please read this and decide, is this too easy for me? Is this too difficult for me? If you need a dictionary, this level is too high. If you don't need a dictionary, then maybe try level 8 or level 9 or level 10. But maybe there's some words you don't know, like organ or harpsichord or composer. So you should read a little of this story and decide. And you say, this is easy for me, this is difficult for me, and so on. So we can then go back or we can go out. If we go out, we can then go back and then choose a different book. We can go back to choosing a different book that so if you like this book, you continue reading. Yeah. And you can add this book to your library. So let's continue reading this one. Yeah. So you would then add that to your library. And then you can choose some more books. There's lots of more books for you to choose from. So all of you can choose books that you want to read. Choose your level, find something that you like. So your homework this week is to find one book, read it, and finish it. Find one book, read it, and finish it. So here will tell you some information. It's level 6, for example. This is 6,000 words. Will take you about an hour. And tell you the type of book. This book here is level 3, only 1,600 words. And at the end, there'll be a quiz. So please read and take the quiz. Okay, so please learn the X reading system. So I'm now going to tell you your username and password. Oh, hang on, just a second. Oh, just a second. Where we go? Here we go. Oh, just missed it. There we go. So please read this carefully. This here, This here is your student number. And you have to put NDSU dash into xreading.com. Your password is also your school number. Yeah, your school number, not this number, Put your school number, NDSU dash . So the chat window has xreading.com. Please open xreading.com. In the login, please type NDSU dash, then your school number. Password, your school number. Okay? If you get into it, then please type I'm in into the chat window. If you can access X reading, please type I'm in or help. So please go to xreading.com, everybody.
So it's only for the students, sir?
No, you also have one to Professor Harry.
I have one.
You are NDSU-Harry. Password.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you your password in a private chat.
Okay, sir.
If you want me to create some more accounts, please let me know.
Okay, sir. So should the students try to log in now, sir?
Right now. Please do so right now.
Adik-adik silahkan dicoba untuk login ya, untuk ngecek apakah bisa masuk atau tidaknya. Nanti tolong segera konfirmasi via chatbox. Apakah bisa dipahami? Halo.
So in the class, when you see the students, could you please either send them an email or message them or let the students know? Even the students who did not come today, please let them know they also have an email. They also have a username and password. Everybody has them.
Yes, I already informed in my WhatsApp group with them, sir.
And for homework, they should read one book, and be ready to talk about it next week.
Okay.
Next week, they're going to have breakout rooms, and they're going to tell 2 or 3 people about their story.
Yes. After this, I'm going to check them one more time in order to make
Please
sure
do.
that they can log into the xreading.com.
Okay.
Invalid login, sir.
Ooh.
Isla Fitria. Something's wrong, maybe. Let me
Invalid
try
login.
this. Let me try myself.
Oh, crikey. Invalid login, okay.
And most of them, sir, say
Yes, okay. I'm just checking why that would be. That's very strange because I tested one of them before. Let me just log out.
NDSU.
It may be that, just a second. I wonder whether this may be, this might be, try with a capital letter, A. Try that.
Oh, I can log in.
You can?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the codes, just a second. I will send
use
them.
A, the big A, I mean capital A.
Maybe
A,
try
3,
capital
2.
A, yes.
Which one? The password or the username?
Try both, I think. Because I uploaded them yesterday. Student ID hasn't.
I think the password. Hello, everyone. Please try the password with the capital A at the beginning, not small a.
Yes. Yes, capital. Okay. I mean, okay. All right. My mistake.
Yeah, most of them can understand.
Sorry, everybody.
So the password, right?
Yes, the password needs a capital A, yeah. This one needs a small a, yeah. So people, I can get in. I mean, okay, that's good.
Okay.
So this is quite an easy system to understand, I think. Please ask the students to find a book and then just read something that they like. So students, we're getting to the end of class time. So you can read 1 book or 2 books or 10 books. You have a free account for 1 month. You can read as many books as you like. Now, importantly, notice also that when you choose a book, let me just show you on here. Let me share my screen with you. Where's the share screen? Here we go, share screen. Notice that if you wish, students, you can also listen. Many of these books have a listening text as well. So if you choose to listen.
Johann Sebastian Bach, the man who wrote the Brandenburg Concertos.
So if you want to listen, you can also listen. You don't have to listen, but you can also listen if you choose to. If you want to listen, you can. So let's just look at an example. Oops, stop sharing. Start sharing this one. So hopefully you can listen. Press this button.
I was one of Germany's greatest musicians and composers. I could play the organ, violin, flute, and harpsichord.
So on, like this, yeah? Now you can also make the text smaller. You can make the text bigger. And there's also a glossary at the end that gives you the vocabulary. So this teaches you some difficult words as well, yeah? So you can change the size and so on and so on. And here there are different things that you can do. So please use this system and finish reading one book. Next week, students, I want you to talk about your book to the other students. I want you to say, I read da 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 da. It's about something, something, something. Okay? Professor Harry, is that okay? Professor Harry, can you hear me?
It's really okay, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, so students, I think we have to finish class now. It's 12 o'clock. It's time.
Yes, sir.
So thank you very much for your time today. I have the recording of the video for the students who are not here today, and I will send that to Professor Harry later today.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for
My pleasure.
Professor Waring.
I will see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you again next week, sir.
All right. So before next week, students, please read a book and take the test and be ready to tell other students about your book. Be ready to say, I read da 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 da. The story is about da 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 da. Okay?
Yes, I'm going to make sure they do that, sir.
Please do that. And they should be able to do that. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Harry. Thank you, students.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Waring. We'll see you again next week.
No problem.
It's very happy for you. Take care.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, students.
Okay, bye-bye, Professor.